Hello YouTubers, I said I would do a upgraded video when I did an upgrade on my bike. Obviously it's an electric bike. You could tell that there's a trailer on it now, a home built trailer that I built, and the big box is no longer on the back. I got my turn signals still back here, as you can see. Um, it's turn signals and brake lights, but I got it wired up to the back right now. I have a new fuse. It's got a 40 amp fuse in there, all wired in, go into the back, and it actually runs a little bit better. I don't have the weight of the batteries on the bike itself, which was actually causing some issues, like when I'm at a stop or whatever, and I'm not actually sitting on the seat. If I hit the throttle, the front tire would pop up because there was too much weight in the back, and the front end was like really light. Now it's like hardly any weight. It's just mostly the motor weight and the controller on the back. But this is a trailer. I have a little modification I'm gonna have to do to it. As you see right now, it's angled down. That was not intended, so it's angled down in the front. I'm gonna end up putting some type of heavy duty blocks right up here, so they raise it up a little higher, and this hitch will actually attach to that little higher, so that the box sits more level. As of right now, it's putting more weight than I feel comfortable with on the bike itself. I want most of the weight to actually be on the trailer. But this is what the box looks like right now. Right now I have a pulse charger in there. It's desulfonating the batteries. I have 8 12 volt 12 amp hour cells. 4 of them are in series, and the other 4 in another series, and then they're connected together in parallel. So I charge each bank of 4 up separately. I could charge up all 8 batteries together, but I just feel a little more comfortable. It seems to desulfonate the batteries better if you just desulfonate 4 and by themselves. But this charger is a charger that it's a desulfonator, high frequency pulse charger. It pulses the power in and out a little bit while it's charging, and that desulfonates the battery, which raises your capacity level. And also, if you have batteries that are heavily sulfated, it means you don't hold as much of a charge. It fixes them and brings them back to their original condition. So that's what I use, and it charges the batteries too. So it can be used as a charger that's your primary charger, and it'll keep your batteries from being sulfated and losing capacity, and that's really nice. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys out there don't like it when you're using steel lead acid batteries, and over time your batteries lose their capacity and you have to replace them. Well, this makes it to the point where they'll last a great deal longer before they're you want to throw them away and replace them. But there's a whole entire setup right now. Right now I have these little spade connectors on here. I'm having a little bit of a problem with them. They keep on wanting to slide off easily when I'm riding down the road because bumping and bouncing and vibration, and I'm losing power when that's happening, and I have to get off the bike. I have to open up the trailer, reconnect them. I've tried crimping them a lot tighter, but they just keep on coming off. I mean, they're decent little spade connectors, but they're not really good for well, on a bike that's going to be moving a lot. And as you see, these little like this one is an R2 connector on this battery. They have a little hole in them. Well, they do make spade connectors that have a little latch on them, so when you pop it in, a little tiny little nub goes up through the little hole. All right, and when you take it off, you have to push this little lever down and then slide it out, so they actually lock on. So I'm gonna end up ordering some of those or getting those somewhere so I could actually have those so they don't come off easily, and that way I don't have to worry about that anymore. Um, but right now it's all charged up and running inside the house right now to charge up because I just went on a little shopping trip, and works pretty good. I keep my extra tools, my multimeter, extra wire, wire nuts, butt connectors, wire crimpers, everything I would need to repair the bike wherever I'm at. I keep all that in here. But right now, as you can see, where the tires are and where the bulk of the batteries are, the bulk of the batteries are right over the axle. And that's generally where you want your batteries, because you want the axle for your trailer to actually take the bulk of the weight for your batteries. That way your electric motor is only doing one thing, pulling the bike, or pulling the trailer. And of course, carrying your own weight, and that's about it. So that's what I have right now, and it's working pretty good. Right now with 8 12-volt 12 amp hour batteries, I have about a 35 almost 40-mile range before I'm dead on power. So that's a pretty decent range for an electric bike. And this trailer isn't really that heavy. It's actually pretty light. You can't really tell in this video, but when I got it all loaded up, when I actually unhook it from it, I can wheel it around, and it's actually working pretty good. I would like to have some bicycle wheels, because then it had larger wheels on there, but this is all I had, and well, it'll have even more upgrades. But like I said, I'd post another upgrade video when I actually had an opportunity, when I did some upgrades, and I've got this running right now, and it works pretty darn good. Nice thing is I have storage space. I plan on putting some type of basket on the top of the lid, just a large basket that's lightweight, like probably made out of plastic or some type of thin metal wire basket, and it'll just be bolted to the top of the lid. That way, when I go shopping, when I get out of the store, I can actually put my groceries inside the basket, and I can just strap them down with some bungee cords, and the lid's always locked anyway, and that way I can carry groceries around with me that, for like if I'm buying something that's too large for me to actually fit inside the trailer in the remaining space that is available, which there's not much. But, and generally I don't like the idea of putting things on top of the batteries, because, well, then, things shifting around in there might pop the cables off the battery terminals and everything. I've been trying to solve that a little bit by putting this piece of board on top of them, but it just they're still popping off. So yeah. Plus, I also did a major mess up when I put this axle on here that came off of a garden wagon. I wasn't thinking, and the whole entire thing got bent backwards a little bit. And it's not bent backwards now because I used this nylon rope that I had, and I tied them both ends, all right, going up and attaching onto this latch right up here in the front that used to be a carrying handle. So it's holding the axle from, going backwards and end up ripping free from the box. At some point I intend on, putting some welded struts going from the bottom of the axle up into the, attaching to the bottom of the box to hold it from, tilting backwards, and the same thing from the other side. So that it has struts, going from the bottom of the axle up into the bottom of the box that way, and then another one going up into the bottom this way. That way the whole entire axle that's going downward doesn't have an opportunity to tilt this way or tilt this way, because it is just bolted in to the wood with another piece on the inside of the wood where the bolt's going down through that wood and then through the box of wood and then through the metal square stock bar that is a part of the frame. And how I attached it here is I have the little arms come up, they meet together where they're welded, and I have two springs that came from a trampoline, and they're welded onto there, and they have big bolts welded onto them, and the bolts go up through here and they're just nutted in place, and that actually gives me the ability for my bike to be able to turn left, right, be able to tilt upward, downward, and also rotating and everything. So I have every direction that the bike would need to be able to turn without actually interfering with the trailer, and it's pulling it. And since these springs are so heavy duty, when I'm pulling it down the road, I don't get a bunch of bounce of the trailer trying to go back and forth, and which is an issue if you're using springs solely. But I haven't had any issue with that because the springs are heavy enough, but they're light enough to be able to actually articulate for the movements of the bike. But yeah, I mean, the only issue I've been really having with it is my turn signals. Yeah, they're little turn signals that, if you notice, when I flip the little switch right here to left-hand signal, it lights up, and I flip this to the other side, and the back, it lights up also that way. And of course, at nighttime, right, when I want the backlight to be visible all the time, I can turn it on, so it's always on. All right, by flipping the little button right up here, and that's nice, but during the daytime, honestly, these lights aren't that visible. Right now, I'm underneath an overhang in the front porch area, and it's kind of overcast today, so it's not really bright. But when it's a bright day out, you can't see those. And if you look here, you can see when I pull the brake lever right here, all right, the back lights come on. Even when I have the lights on permanently where they stay on, if I hit the brakes, they get brighter. Well, during the daytime, that isn't seen worth at all. You just can't see it. So I intend on actually getting a set of trailer brake lights and turn signals, which is an idea that my brother-in-law gave me. And he said that those things I could just attach them right to the back of the trailer, one on each side, and then put the brake light one right in there and have it wired right into the battery system and running off the same setup I have for these turn signals. And boom, I'd have, brake lights and turn signal lights that are a great deal more visible during the daytime. And that would work out a lot better. It's just with an electric bike, it's not very fun to take your hands off the handlebars to actually do turn signals with your arms. So turn signal lights is the best thing that I've found that come in handy with this. So having something that's visible during the day is necessary for my needs. So that's what I'm going to do for turn signal lights. But I'm going to buy this little control box that I found on another website that's meant for like mopeds and motorcycles that I'll put up here on the handlebars. And it's got a little switch that goes to the left and right for the turn signals. It's got a switch above that for the headlights. I turn that on and flip that, and it'll wire it into my headlights, which I'm going to have on the handlebars. And then it also has a little switch on down below for a horn, which I'll eventually get a little electric horn that'll run off batteries too, which I'm planning on actually attaching another battery pack back here, just a small little battery pack out of lithium cells, primarily solely for the purpose of running the actual the horn and the headlights, and that's it. The turn signals are going to run off another battery that I'm going to put inside here, which will be another 12 volt, 12 amp hour battery, specifically solely for that only. And so that way the turn signals and brake lights are all running off that. But the headlights and horn, well, that'll be a separate battery pack. But of course, obviously, like I said in one of my previous videos, I said that eventually I'm going to upgrade to lithium for my entire battery packs for powering the bike completely. But I just don't have the funds to be able to do that. I mean, as you can see, I'm building a trailer, from stuff I already had. Like I had this old dynamite box, old dynamite box that used to be used to hold a bunch of dynamite for the U.S. Army. And I mean, it doesn't say that on it anymore. But when I first got this thing, there was a tag on the inside. It's all yellowed paper, and it said United States Army Demolitions or whatever. I don't remember exactly. It's been a long time. But there used to be a tray inside here that actually used to hold a whole bunch of det cord and blasting caps or whatever, and the bottom would be filled with bundles of dynamite. Of course, this lid is a lot more thicker now. It used to be just a piece of plywood. I added these extra pieces, to shore it up so it'd be a lot firmer. And the same thing for the inside. I add these 2x4s and then these 1x6s on the ends and heavier duty hinges. So it's not an antique box anymore because now it's got some modern stuff on it. But it works pretty good, and it's a really light box. But I was just building this of what I had handy, what I can get my hands on, and it works. It's kind of ugly, but it works a lot better than going out and buying some little kid trailer that people would buy to put on their bikes to haul a toddler around, because those things are pretty flimsy and they fall apart pretty easily. I've had a couple of them, and they weren't worth anything. They were trash, and so this all works better. And of course, it's all sitting on my Dr. Pepper purple mountain bike that was also a salvage from the trash. The motor, the controller, and the batteries were not salvaged from the trash. Those were bought. But, the bike is a trash salvage. And the trailer, well, I made that from the box. And the box itself was originally a trash salvage. So, hey, look at that. I got my own transportation, and the bulk of it is trash salvage. I showed you guys on the last video my bike computer, which tells me how fast I'm going, what my max speed have ever been to, my odometer and everything. I got this little thing which I could use to attach my phone into so that I could use the GPS. There's the speed controller, not the speed controller, but the throttle. When the batteries are plugged in, which they're not plugged into the controller right now, they're plugged into the charger. When they're plugged in, I hit this button, and as you saw a moment ago, there's a little bit of residual charge left in it. And you turn that on, these lights will light up. Top one is green, the middle one is orange, and the bottom one's red. Usually all three of them will be lit up. And green means you got full charge, yellow, mid charge, and red. If the red one's the only one lit, then that means you're low on power and you're about ready to run out of power. And here's the throttle. It just pushes all the way down, and it's hooked up to a potentiometer inside the controller, so the further down you push it, the faster you go. And of course, here's the controller for the turn signals. It's a piece of crap, but eventually it's going to go bye-bye, and all I'll have left is out of that is really none of it. In fact, I'll be actually taking this thing and this off of here once I get my trailer lights. So that's my bike. She's a beaut. No, she's not. She's ugly. But she's functional, and that's all that really matters. Is I'm not really caring about how cool looking it looks. I'm caring about how functional it is. But I could hit about 35 miles per hour is the fastest I've ever been on this thing. But I was also going downhill. On a general level surface, I'm hitting 20 to 25. And hey, it's cool. All right. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. I'll be free to. I'm free to answer any questions anybody has, and I'll answer them to the best of my knowledge. All right. Thank you. Bye.